So yes, today I want to chat a little bit about the smaller companies, the SMEs, and in particular in relation to resource efficiency. Now, when I say resource efficiency, you might not immediately think biodiversity. However, when it comes to small companies, SMEs, whether they're micro-sized or medium-sized, how does one convince them to even consider biodiversity-based actions? Well, a company has as its priority really and truly its own operations, its business. How can it make sure that its business functions well? How can it make sure that its operations are effective, are efficient? And that's why we start off with resource efficiency, helping an SME really achieve resource efficiency to improve its operations, and then through resource efficiency measures, consider how their operations has an impact on biodiversity and what they can do to improve their approach on this. So we're really stepping back to basics when it comes to SMEs. And all of this short presentation is going to be about IGO, which is an initiative that we under the Green Industry Platform have developed as a way to support individual SMEs access the information and the support services they need to bring about resource efficiency changes in their particular company. And IGO is actually not just for SMEs, but also for SME supporting organizations. And essentially, the idea of IGO is, how can we take all the global international level work we do right down to the doorstep of an individual SME? So it's our kind of way of transferring that kind of high level work we do right down to the level of an individual SME. Now, just to explain very briefly, the Green Industry Platform is actually part of an initiative called the Green Growth Knowledge Partnership. And it's supported by the 5 organizations that you see down here. They're the 5 international organizations that came together to develop, create the Green Growth Knowledge Partnership, which aims to support industry communities, finance communities, and policy communities on being able to access all the different types of knowledge and support services they need to green their activities. But today it's all about industry and in particular SMEs. Let me explain IGO, how it works, because it is essentially a support structure, like an infrastructure for SMEs, but also SME supporting organizations. So without further ado, let me explain how it works, what tools we have, and how they apply to the different types of SMEs and organizations. The first thing that I want to talk about is what we call our SME Support Center. And this is really a database. As boring as that, it's a database of all the different types of technical guides, tools, but also training, technical assistance, and financial solutions that exist in a country for SMEs to help them on resource efficiency. Now, it's a database that you can access online. It's called the SME Support Center. A link will appear in the chat very soon. And within this database, you can search by different topics, whether you're looking to improve your energy, your water, whatever it may be. And you can search by, for example, here I'm in energy, you can search by developing an actual program or implementing specific measures. Now, what you get out of this is, for example, like in any database, a list of the relevant information that you need. For example, in this case, developing an energy management program, and specifically how to start off just developing an action plan, and it has been filtered by South Africa. So here you see all the information we have available for SMEs in South Africa to be able to develop an action plan for developing an energy management program. And we have lots of different filters to go through this entire database. But let's move on, because a database honestly is pretty useless unless people access it and use the information that's in it. And as a result, we have developed another tool called the IGO Assistant. And this tool is actually what we call our interface with SMEs. We know that no SME, honestly, is going to find its way to the SME Support Center and look through it to find information for them. So the IGO Assistant is our way to help an SME, first of all, understand where they're at on resource efficiency. Are they a beginner? Are they intermediate? Are they more advanced? And based on that, we essentially go into the support center for them and pluck out the most relevant information or support service for them. So it's like an advanced filter tool. How can I get what I need based on my specific needs? Now, let me show you quickly what this IGO Assistant is. It's an online tool. Again, you'll get a link in the chat showing you where it is. And it's very simple. You click here to start. It brings you to an interface where you don't have to provide any kind of confidential information. We just need to know location, business sector, and company size. And then we ask information on actions. We need to understand very simply, when it comes to an SME, have you any idea what resource efficiency is? If you do, have you started to just think about it, or are you a little bit more advanced? And then, have you done anything on energy or water or materials or chemicals or waste? Now, we do not look for detailed information. An SME going in here, doing this quick self-assessment, only needs to have a general understanding of their operations. We're not looking for any kind of numerical data. And in fact, the way we ask questions here is based on how advanced or how much of a beginner an SME is when it comes to resource efficiency. So we ask up to 4 questions per section. Now, up to 4 questions means they might only answer 1 question, or they could answer up to 4. And this all depends on how advanced they are. An example here is, under resource efficiency strategy, the first thing we ask is, have you made a commitment to improve resource efficiency? Yes, no. And if I answer, yes, I actually have made a commitment, and I click next, I'm asked another question in that section, which says, okay, you've made a commitment. Have you actually assessed what your resource efficiency improvement opportunities are? Yes, no. If I click yes, I go on to another question there. And like I said, depending on how much I've done, I keep getting asked a question. However, as soon as I answer no, in this case, I have made a commitment, I've done an assessment, but I actually don't monitor anything I do. I click no, I go to the next section. In this case, an example is energy. Have I done something on energy? If I click yes, they'll ask more information. If I click no, I've done nothing on energy, I go to the next section. Basically, what this means is if I'm an SME and I haven't done a whole lot, I'll get through this in about 1 or 2 minutes. No, 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 no. That's me. That's my status. I'm true. And if I'm more advanced, I get asked a few more questions. But again, even if I'm advanced, it won't take more than 5-7 minutes. When I get through my questions, I end up on a page like this. It gives me a summary of my resource efficiency status based on the questions I answered. And again, simple questions, yes, no. And not only does it give me a status of my operations when it comes to resource efficiency, these are the colored bars you see here, but it also benchmarks me against all the other SMEs that have undertaken a self-assessment here. So I can see I'm very good in comparison to the average, which is a beginner when it comes to resource efficiency strategy. And I can also refine this benchmarking by sector, by country, and by size. So I can already start to play around with my graphical understanding of my status versus that of my peers. Now, for each of those areas that I answered questions on, I get a very short and simple status. For example, in resource efficiency strategy, I have an action plan. I have monitoring and I do carry out monitoring, but that's as far as I go. Under energy management, okay, I've taken initial steps, but I haven't actually carried out an audit. And what I can do is I can click here and I can say, okay, this is my status, which says I haven't yet carried out an energy audit. It then tells me why an energy audit is important for me. And it gives me the steps that I should undertake if I want to do an energy audit. Now, this is pretty high level stuff. It's really giving you an idea of a recommendation and the kind of steps you should take based on your particular status that you have here. And again, it's awareness building. This isn't the definitive technical guide, it's to build awareness. And then most importantly, perhaps, based on my status, I'm after getting a curated or tailored list of guidance and support services that are most relevant to me based on the answers I get in my questionnaire. So I can have, for example, guidance on how to conduct a walk-around energy survey, or I can see that there's free training available or low-cost training available, or I can see there's specific financing solutions, all based on my particular status. What I can also do is I can create an account, which enables me as an SME to stay in touch with the IGO, to save my result, to get updates, or I can just download a report, which ends up as a PDF document where I can just keep this, and it's all the information that was on the online one. So that is our IGO Assistant. Probably the most important one of our tools because it's how we engage with the SMEs. We are, however, developing another tool, which is our Implementation Manager tool. This will be done in the next 12 months, and it's more for SMEs that are actually engaged in implementing projects. They want to track their audit data, they want to do feasibility studies, and they want to track their performance. Again, not yet developed, but coming soon. Now, these are all nice tools, but again, unless we can actually get them to an SME, they're pretty useless. So for that, we have what's called the IGO network, where we, country by country, engage with SME supporting organizations, whether they are NGOs working with, training solutions for SMEs, or a government agency with a program, or a business association that wants to support its network of SMEs become more resource efficient, and of course, SME client companies, those large companies that are consumer facing and need to figure out how they can improve their own, let's say, ESG ratings, CSR image, carbon emission reduction program, how they can address any of those by working with their supply chain and supporting their supply chain. And we see that as a very important, let's say, member of our IGO network, because they're the ones that can really influence and incentivize SMEs through a business case to become more resource efficient. So very important for us to work with this IGO network to actually make use of all of these different tools we have. And talking about the IGO network, to give you an idea how it can be of benefit to the different members, because we track essentially what organizations do and what they could also potentially do. Why? Because we want to then go to donors and say, we understand the SME needs, we understand what organizations are active, and we understand what organizations could bring more supports to the market to help SMEs based on their needs. So we are in a position through all of this information to work with donors. And what we want to do is we want to essentially, sorry, I went a bit quick there. Bear with me one moment while I flick back here. So what we want to do is really track what organization is doing what, in what area, in what region. We would like to be able to see where the funding flows are versus where's the focus on projects across energy, waste, water, chemicals, you name it, in a given region. We want to be able to see what organization is doing what in what country in comparison to maybe another organization that may or may not be duplicating it. We want to go on a country level to see where the project focus is versus the type of funding composition, so that we can really understand, one, what's happening and what could yet be done if the money was there. So really think about IGO as a way of collecting and processing a lot of valuable data, whether it's through the SME Support Center. As a database, it helps us understand where the knowledge gaps are, or two tools, the IGO Assistant and IGO Implementation Manager. They give us information on SME needs, the opportunities, and their performance. And of course, the IGO network gives us an idea of who's doing what, and of course, who could do what. So that is the quick overview of our IGO initiative, how we work with SMEs, SME supporting organizations, essentially connecting a lot of dots, trying to help everybody be more effective and efficient in a very collaborative way.